Are going live in 3, 2, 1. We are on the air. This is Kathleen Gage, and this is my Facebook Live. Today is Thursday, February 10th. And the reason I give those dates is because I started doing lives at the beginning of the year, wanted to make sure that I stayed on target with that. So it allows me to see how many times I've actually gone live and what I am accomplishing by making a commitment to sticking with a plan. And speaking of sticking with a plan, one thing about Facebook Lives is you make a mistake, you can't edit that out on the actual download video. You can download it and edit it out if you so are inclined. I'm not so inclined because I figure it's like a live presentation on the platform, which it's been 2 years since I've done that. Oh my goodness, 2 years. But it's like a live presentation. You're up there. You might say something that you didn't mean to say. Something comes out wrong. You trip, you fall. Trust me, after 27 years, nearly 28 years as a professional speaker, I've probably made a majority of the mistakes that people make. I've had things happen. I've had lights fall from the ceiling. I've had people who have been there by force of their company and they didn't want to be there and they let me know it. So with that being said, today we are going to talk about the 3 ways to shine on your next podcast interview as a guest expert. This is not about starting your own show. I can certainly talk to you about that. If you're interested in starting your own show, I have a team of people. We put everything together on the back end. We can take that off your plate. Let's have a conversation. But what I'm going to talk about today, let me put these readers on. The top 3 things: how to be prepared and aligned with the show, how to send all the needed information, what information you need to send, and then what you do on the back end. It's really amazing how many people go on shows and they don't do a darn thing to promote the show, which is kind of confusing in that you're on a show, you got the visibility by the host. Why not do everything in your power? And I guess it would help if I move the microphone closer. Why not do everything in your power to go ahead and promote the show? And I'm going to talk about that, some ways that you can promote. So let's talk, first of all, about being prepared and aligned. Whatever the theme or the topic of the show is, make sure that you're a good fit for that. I had somebody contact me through a service that I use. It's a software that I am a member of this program and have gotten some great guests. I found some great opportunities as being a member of this. And this guy wrote me and he said he wanted to talk about, I don't even know what. It had nothing to do with being vegan. It had nothing to do with running a vegan business. And I said, I only interview vegans. And he wrote back and he said, well, I can teach people how to be vegans. And I said, are you a vegan? He said, no, but I can teach people how to be vegans. That makes no sense whatsoever. And I said, please do not email me anymore because you're not a fit for my show. And I'm pretty adamant about that. Actually, not just pretty adamant, I'm very adamant about that. And so if it's a show about childhood rearing and you're an expert on childhood rearing, then reach out to the host. If you're not, if you're trying to fit a square peg in a round hole, don't do that. It really just irritates the host. And we're so busy already. And it's not that we're so amazing. It's just that we're so busy, like everybody, that we don't need the added frustration of people trying to get on our show when they're absolutely not a fit. Another thing about being prepared is you want to make sure that you have all the needed information that the host is going to need. You have your bio, you have an introduction. You might have sample questions if in fact you have a very complex topic and there are specific questions that you really would like the host to ask. Have that conversation ahead of time, not while you're on the air, not while they're recording, because it adds more work to them or their team to edit that information out. When you're recording and act like it's going live, because otherwise you do cause extra time and cost to the host. Okay, so as far as all the needed information, There's your intro, which is a short introduction. It should take no more than 10 to 20, 30 seconds to read your intro, and it should have something that's going to grab people's attention. Don't leave it up to the host to have to figure that out. The more you can provide to the host, the better off it's going to be. Your bio, on the other hand, can be 100 words, 250 words, 500 words, and it has a lot of key information about your background. And it's nice to provide something with substance to the host, because then when they, let's say they do a blog post or a podcast post about it, they can take information out of your bio and enhance the post. The more you provide and the easier you make it for the host, the better off you're going to be. Next is send all the needed information. Again, that would be your intro, that would be your bio, that would be a high resolution headshot or action shot, depending on what your topic is. If you're going to talk about how to kayak on White Rapid rivers, I don't know if there is such a thing. I don't know if you kayak or you boat or whatever, but if you're an expert on that, you would know. And you might send a picture of being out on the rapids. And so it has to align with your message. So send all the needed information ahead of time, not 5 minutes before the interview, because most hosts don't do this for a living. Most hosts enhance their business with a podcast show, or they do it as a hobby. They do it on the side. Some hosts have full-time jobs and they might do a show once a month, and that's enough for them. And so it's not as if this is what they do for a living. So you want to make it as easy on them as possible. Now, here's the big one that I always find interesting. I had somebody the other day that I do my pre-interview conversations on Tuesdays, and not everybody does a pre-interview conversation. Some hosts say, oh, I never do that. I just want it to be spontaneous. I personally want to make sure that the person is aligned with the message I'm putting out to market, which the message is about being vegan. And all my guests are 100% void of animal and dairy products. That's just my guideline. That's my rule. And I have had occasion that I book somebody, I ask them that question before I even book them for the pre-interview. We get on the pre-interview, I ask a couple of questions, and I find out they're not vegan. They're not going to be on my show, period. End of story. I was doing my pre-interview calls the other day, and I think I had 5 or 6. And that's how busy I keep with my show. You know, it's not like I have to go out searching for people. I have enough visibility that people do come to me. And the first question I always ask them, if they don't make it clear, is, are you 100% void of animal and dairy in your food consumption? And if they say no, then we don't go any further. I wish them well. They're on their way. I'm on my way. If they say yes, then we book a pre-call based on a few other questions. And so I was doing my pre-calls on Tuesday, and I do them pretty much back to back. And I had almost all of them were amazing. They were like, thank you so much. I look forward to being on your show. I really want to serve your audience. And it was just a real humble encounter. And then I had one person who was so concerned about what I was going to do for him. How are you going to promote it? What are your numbers? What is this? What is that? He's not a sponsor. He's a guest. And he was actually starting to irritate me. And I said, some of that information I don't give out to people. I just don't. And he goes, well, I deserve to know because I have to know what my expectations should be. And I was rather offended. And I was offended because here I'm creating a platform for him to share his message for my audience. And it actually bothered me to the point that he's not going to be on my show, because he was more interested in what the show could do for him than what he could do for the community. Because my show is about raising awareness around compassion to animals, around your health through proper eating, and around the environment. And it's not there to serve you to just promote your business. Now, granted, when you're on my show, you will have that opportunity, because I always ask my guests, how can people reach you? And I want to give them that opportunity. That's my way of thanking them. But if you lead with that, you're not a good fit for the show. I want people who lead with really wanting to raise awareness around all the issues that are connected with veganism. So with that being said, one of the things that I really see guests miss the mark on is they don't promote the episode, which boggles my mind, because One, you're on somebody's show, which means you are considered to be an influencer. Why not promote that fact? Why not tweet it out, put it on Instagram, put it on TikTok, wherever you have a presence? It might be LinkedIn, it might be Facebook, it might be Pinterest. I don't know, wherever it is for you. We actually provide artwork. We provide the full video that goes up on YouTube, but we provide it in that format so you can load it on your website. You can load it up on YouTube, on your channel. You can load it wherever you want to. We also provide shorts that can go on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter. We want to make it as easy as possible. We also provide artwork so that you can actually do a post, put the artwork, and put the link to the episode. We do a blog post. We do a YouTube video around it. We do audio platforms. It goes out to about 10 audio platforms. And so we make it as easy as possible for the guest to do some promotions. And when they don't do any promotion, and especially if they agree to do it, because I say, you're not obligated, but it would be nice if you did. And they always say, oh yeah, I'll be sure to do it. Most do. But then you have those people that they do nothing at all. They don't even retweet a tweet that they've been tagged on. So my point being, as a host, we work really hard to bring quality information to our audience. We work really hard to do that. And it would be really nice if the guest would go ahead and help promote it. Because again, it's not just about helping us, it's about helping you. The more you put word out that you've been on a show, the more likely it is that hosts will come to you. I have a client that has a pretty out of the ordinary topic. She actually talks about women in the priesthood. And she and I have been working together for a few years. She's written a book called Scandal in the Shadows. And when we first started working together, she had never been on a podcast show before. And I said, there will come a point that hosts will start approaching you. And her episodes are promoted. When she's on a show, it goes on social media. She has a team member that takes care of that for her. And recently we were having a discussion and she goes, it's starting to happen. The hosts are coming to me. And the reason being is, if a host sees that a guest promotes an episode, they're more likely to invite you on the show. So it's really just common sense. It's about making it a win-win all the way around. By the way, this is Kathleen Gage with Vegan Visibility. And if you're not sure about the steps to get on a show and what to do, I highly encourage you to download my free guide. And it's called the Influencer's Guide for Podcast Interviews. Go to powerupforprofits.com/checklist. That's powerupforprofits.com/checklist. And pretty soon that URL is not going to be available. It will be veganvisibility.com/influence, but that's going to be later. Right now, powerupforprofits.com/checklist. So again, the three things are: be prepared and aligned. Send all the needed information in a timely fashion. Don't wait until right before the show. And offer to promote the show. How do you promote the show? You take the episode and let's say it's on Apple Podcasts. You can take the Apple Podcast link. If they have a blog post link, you take the permalink. If it's on YouTube, you take the permalink and you just start posting it in different locations. You put keywords aligned with whatever your topic is. You tag the show host on it. If there was another guest on the show, you can tag the other guest. But basically, it's putting maybe 10 minutes into promotions. You would be amazed at what you'll get in return. Another thing that we'll talk about in more detail on another episode is your media page. Make sure that you put the permalink to shows that you've been on your media page and even the banner artwork of that particular show. This is Kathleen Gage, wishing you a great day and encouraging you. Go out, look for those opportunities to be on podcast shows, but really put some effort into it. And don't think that the host owes you anything. It's about creating a win-win opportunity. When we as hosts get people who think that we should be so grateful they came on our show, we are grateful. I do want you to know that. But somebody who has that attitude, they usually don't get on the show because, again, we put a lot of time and effort into what we're doing. We want to serve our market. My whole purpose and my goal is to raise awareness around compassion to animals, the environment, and your health. And so I want people who are aligned with that and really aligned with the energy of what that means, and not just about building their business, because it's not just about building their business. It's about working as a community. And really, your job as a guest is to shine. It's to really put yourself out there in a way that people are engaged with it. And then it's to promote the episode. Really, really simple. Love to get your feedback on this, your comments on what you do when you're on shows. How do you promote the show? How do you look for shows? Go ahead and leave comments. And I will be opening up my lives to bring in guests on. You don't have to be vegan to be a guest on my lives. I really just want to get great information out there. So with that, wishing you a great day, and be sure to get the influencers guide at powerupforprofits.com/checklist, powerupforprofits.com/checklist. You spell it out and you're good to go. Have a great day.